Tomorrow marks the start of the Chinese New Year, the year of the water snake. Now, the Chinese New Year actually appeals to me quite a lot because of the 12-year animal cycle, which consists of rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. That's a 12-year cycle, so obviously it's a duodecimal thing. So like you get decades in the Western calendar, we will have that there is the alternative of having a 12-year cycle, which is very appealing to me. There is also another cycle imposed on it, which doesn't correspond and runs on its own, which is the Yin and Yang Chinese element cycle, which is in the vanquishing relationship, which I'll go into in a minute. That is wood, earth, water, fire, metal, and then back to wood. So, one of the interesting things about the Chinese New Year, well, firstly, it starts on the dark moon after the winter solstice. Now, that doesn't quite work for me because obviously if it's on the 10th of February, which is tomorrow, that's clearly not the dark moon, first dark moon after the winter solstice. So it's a combination of a lunar and a solar calendar. And as a result, it varies according to the Gregorian, that's our calendar, from year to year. One of the interesting things about the Chinese animals, which don't correspond to stars, is that they're used as if they're a zodiac. But if you take the Earth's orbit and you look at the Jupiter's orbit, which takes 11.86 years to go around the Sun, you end up with a much more meaningful correspondence. Because Jupiter's orbit takes 12 years to complete, that means that the planet will be in a different 30-degree arc every year. As a result, it divides by 12, and there's a correspondence between the Chinese animal and the sign of the zodiac, bearing in mind that a sign of a zodiac merely represents a 30-degree arc on the ecliptic and not an actual constellation. So that's quite interesting. The other thing that interests me, because it relates to traditional Chinese medicine and through that to a similar humoral system in the West and Chinese cosmology in general, is the relationship between the different elements. We have the vanquishing and the generative relationships between the two. The generative relationship, wood for a start, that's actually trees more than wood. Wood is a fuel for fire. Fire makes ash. Earth, in other words ash, bears metal. Metal contains water, like a metal bucket or something. Water nourishes wood. And then the other way around, that's not the order in which they appear in the Yin-Yang 10-stem system, which is superimposed and doesn't correspond exactly to the Chinese system. The vanquishing system, which is the way it works, is wood, that is tree roots, pushes through earth. Earth soaks up water. Water quenches fire. Fire melts metal. And metal chops wood. Now those two things are quite similar to the paper, scissors, stone system, and they're quite interesting. They also have significance, and I'm going to at some point talk about why herbalism is cybernetics, and in fact the system described there is herbalism as cybernetics, so I'm going to talk about that in a bit. Anyway, the other interesting thing about it is, of course, that there is a clear correspondence with the Mayan and Aztec calendars in the sense that it's circular. There are no years as such in the Chinese. There's no year counting system in the Chinese system because it goes in a cycle. And that's the difference between their system and our system. And I talked about monochronic and polychronic representations before. So that's quite interesting as well. And I just thought I'd mention that lot today. So I'll see you tomorrow.